So if you've got a swamp cooler with one of these old dial controllers or switches, um, here I'm going to be swapping this out for this automatic. It's called the Roadrunner Comfort thermostat controller. So yeah, let's get to it. It's about to in about an hour here. It'll be over 80 degrees, and in probably 2 or 3 hours it'll be over 100. So we need to get moving on this. I think it should be fairly easy. Basically, we're just going to need to pull this one, label all the wires that are coming off it, and then attach them to the wires on this. So first things first, let's get the breaker shut off, and then let's get this the old dial controller opened up. So this is what we've got inside there. I know the colors might be a little hard to see, but basically we've got, this is our power in, and this one is our power, or wiring out to the swamp cooler. So we've got, this is our hot in. I believe red is high, black is low, and then blue is the pump. I'm gonna test that because it's not fully clear to me that that's the case based on the wiring diagram I found for this switch. And the power is off here, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carefully remove all these, and I'm gonna turn the power back on briefly just to test the wires. So if you're gonna do that, be very careful. If you already know what the wires are, there's no need to do this. All right, so we've kicked the power back on, so let's go ahead and just test this out here. So we'll go to black, which is low. Red is the pump, so blue has got to be high. Let's go ahead and test that, if it's gonna allow me. Apologize for the camera work, but doing this with one hand is fairly difficult. All right, here we go. Yep, blue is high. All right, so in my case, black low, red pump, blue high. That is not necessarily going to be the case for you. I'm the one who wired this swamp cooler up, so I didn't necessarily follow any sort of convention here for the wire colors. So you may need to do this test if you don't know. Be very careful because the power is going to be hot, obviously, to run the test. Or if there's any sort of diagram that you have, you can check that. But in any case, let's now that we know what we've got here, let's get this hooked up to the new controller. So step one is to install the wall plate that comes with the controller, and that just goes into the existing screw holes with the existing screws from your old controller, and it just says these small holes, which are these towards the bottom. All right, so now let's get to wiring it up. All right, so we should have it all wired up. You do see on the controller all the keys are there. So I have it wired up, and again, the colors on mine are not probably going to match yours. Mine was wired up. The colors were incorrect. It was wired by me. It's a long story, but anyways, so we've got a pump, which in my case is red. High, which in my case is blue, low, which in my case is black, and then we got the grounds all tied together, and we got line in over here, and then way in the back there you see the neutral is just bypassing the controller. It goes straight to the swamp cooler. So now what we're going to do is tuck all these back in there and get this controller actually mounted, and then we'll turn it all on and see how it works. One other thing I'll note here, it comes with these very tiny little wiring nuts. I do not recommend you use these. I don't think they're even big enough for the wire you should be using, which is 12 gauge. So I just found some actual 12 gauge wiring nuts, and that's what I used. All right, so a slight correction here. The ground slash AC, if it would only focus, the ACN slash ground, that's the green wire from the controller, actually goes to the neutral, and then the grounds are what bypass the controller. It wouldn't turn on for me unless I did that. So it's on now, so I'm going to go ahead, tuck these back in, and start getting this set up. And that should be it. It's very easy to set up. It's just going to ask you for your Wi-Fi username and password. I set it up on my guest network. And then that was pretty much it. I just hit auto, which brought me to this. I set it to 75. I set the sensor up in my upstairs. So right now it's 72 and at 75 it should kick on. And you can change it. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see the screen. If you tap this, it'll go to high, and I assume that uses the high fan versus the low fan. So I'm going to keep that on low because I always use the low fan. You can change the temperature here. I mean, this is very simple. I like the interface here. I don't know what this does. Okay, so that just brings you back. So this is off mode, I guess, when you start out. So there's no cooling going to happen here. Let's see what max cool does. So max cool just turns it on. That's pretty self-explanatory. Let's leave it on auto. Yeah, maybe I'll make another video showing the different modes and programming of this thing and how well I think it's working. But so far, pretty happy with it now that I've got it installed. We'll see how it works later today once it heats up. As far as the build quality of the unit itself, it's pretty good. It's obvious that everything's been 3D printed, which maybe that's not the greatest. It's not totally strong. It is bending up a little bit in this corner, so maybe my box isn't perfectly, flush with the wall, so I'm not totally happy with that, but it looks fine. Maybe I need to go in and make some adjustments with those screws. But yeah, overall, I do like the unit, the interface. It is a little bit pricey. I paid $250 for it. So hopefully this is a good solution to kicking this on when I'm gone, especially. That's my main motivation for having this, is that when I'm gone, I came back from a trip a couple weeks ago and my upstairs was 105 inside. So that's not good. I've got computers and stuff up there. They shouldn't be. It's just not good to have your house be that hot in general. I'm sure that can cause all kinds of issues long term. So hopefully when I'm gone, this thing will keep running. From what I've seen, when the power goes out and it gets cycled, it should automatically go back to auto mode on, I believe, 77 degrees. So that's a safe default. That should be good. What just happened there? Okay, so I guess the screen powers off if you don't touch it for a while. So I think that should be a good default in case the power goes out. Leave the house at 77. And of course, with this swamp cooler, this temperature stuff is somewhat nonsense. Like, yes, it'll kick the swamp cooler on when that sensor tells it it's 75 degrees, but the swamp cooler doesn't really have the ability to regulate the temperature like AC would. So like, for example, like later today when it's, going to be 105 with 20% humidity, the swamp cooler is going to be blowing out air that's probably 79 or 80 degrees. Um, it can't get any cooler than that. So it's, supposedly you're setting the temperature here, but really this is just the kick on temperature. Um, it's not actually able to cool the air to that degree unless you have, the perfect set of circumstances. It's not super hot out and there's no humidity or anything. But in my case, it'll be about, 79, 80 degrees, which I'm okay with. It's not ideal. It's a little bit uncomfortable upstairs, but the downstairs is still pretty comfortable, even in the heat of the day. So usually for a couple hours there, I'll just kind of relax downstairs or get any work done I need to outside. And then, kind of in the mornings and the evening is when I'm willing to hang out upstairs. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll probably make another follow-up video on this showing more in depth of using it and give you kind of some feedback on how well it's working for me. But that should help you out with the installation at least.